All right, Nick, let's talk about the Alabama Crimson Tide. We've been talking about it the last few weeks, all of the decisions, all of the key hires Coach DeBoer has been making since he has made his way down to Tuscaloosa and joined the Tide. I think there's a lot of great hires he's made, but one recently he has picked up, and I think is also a very, very strong one. Let's get into the article, and then we can talk about it all on the other side. This, of course, from over on Tuscaloosa News. Says Alabama football coach Kalen DeBoer has reportedly found their next offensive assistant coach. The Crimson Tide is reportedly hiring Chris Kapilovic, I believe that's how you pronounce that one, to coach the offensive line, according to ESPN's Pete Thamel on Monday. The role was vacated by Scott Huff, who followed former Alabama offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb to the NFL's Seattle Seahawks. Kapilovic was most recently the offensive line coach and run game coordinator for Michigan State Spartans, helping lead the 2021 team to an 11-2 record, while his unit paved the way for Kenneth Walker III, who won the Doak Walker Award that season. Nick, I think this is a really great move for a number of reasons. I'm curious what your thoughts are on all of this. But Alabama fans, let us know in the comments section below. I think Coach DeBoer's staff is really starting to come together. We see all of the final pieces. Give us a grade, not on the staff, but how do you grade Coach DeBoer's handling of all of the turnover, all the tumultuation so far in Tuscaloosa? I think it's a pretty difficult situation to come in for any head coach, but I think he's done a pretty admirable job. But I'm curious what your thoughts are. Give him a grade about how he's handled all of the turnover, whether it's players, whether it's coaches, so on, in Tuscaloosa, in the comment section below. But Nick, what are your thoughts on this latest hire by Coach DeBoer?
I really like it. And first of all, Alabama fans, I'm going to apologize. My voice is really hoarse, so please bear with me. But I think this is a great hire. I think Kapilovic is exactly what DeBoer was looking for after his number one choice as offensive line coach obviously left to go to the National Football League. Look, obviously, Alabama, much more of a spread mindset. And again, I know they ran the spread offense a lot the last really decade or so under Saban, but it never really was their mindset. It never really was their strategy in terms of their personality, their just mentality as an offense. Obviously, they ran the concepts, but they still had Saban's old school power football mentality that was kind of underpinning a lot of the thought. That has changed completely with DeBoer with his more spread, aggressive downfield passing attack. With that, as an offensive line coach, you need two things, right? First and foremost, you need a guy who's used to handling NFL talent because you're obviously going to get that at Alabama. And this is a guy who has done that throughout his career, especially recently, namely at Michigan State, handled a lot of elite level Michigan State offensive linemen, including future top 10 picks. He did a really good job at that at Sparty for a long time. Really glad to see he got out of that mess, and East Lansing is heading to a much better situation here at Tuscaloosa. But his experience as a spread mentality offensive line coach, Michigan State is obviously a good example of that, but also at University of North Carolina, I think will be really important because again, it's going to be an attitude shift. It's going to be a mentality shift as well as a talent shift, as well as they kind of retool who they're going to try and recruit to physically fit certain roles in this new offense. And I think getting a guy who could handle both of those things, I think would be really important for DeBoer. But the fact that he was able to get it done and get it done relatively quickly, I think that's a great sign because look, DeBoer going to Alabama, there was going to be a lot of question marks. Obviously, he's replacing Nick Saban, he's replacing a legend. But there's going to be a big question is how could you handle adversity, right? And early adversity happened when two of his top assistants, two of his top lieutenants, his guys left, right? They were going to originally come to Alabama. They went to go to the NFL. Okay, DeBoer, congratulations, head coach of Crimson Tide. Two of your top guys left. What are you going to do now? And he went out and did a really good job filling it, and especially this hire is an example of just that. So that gives me a lot of confidence in DeBoer specifically, his ability to handle and rebound from adversity. Because look, being the head coach at Alabama, dealing in SEC competition, whether it's with coaching staff, recruiting for transfers, it will be brutal. But the fact he did a good job filling these vacancies, I think he actually did a really great job, honestly, all things considered. I think it's a great sign for Alabama going forward.
Yeah, Nick, and talking about Coach Kapilovic a little bit more, you talk about handling of NFL talent. We talk about, obviously, Kenneth Walker at Michigan State. That's a great one. But two other guys over at UNC. He was offensive coordinator when Mitch Trubisky was going through there. That's an impressive talent. Also, you talk about the offensive line side of things. Jonathan Cooper over at North Carolina as well went number 7 overall to the Cardinals. Played in the NFL for many years. I think this is a great guy to come in and, like you said, handle that NFL talent. But also, this is a guy that sneakily, a lot of people may not remember this, but he has an affiliation with the state of Alabama as well, with his time at Alabama State from 2001 to 2005. So he's used to and kind of familiar with the recruiting game in the state of Alabama. So that's, something that you can look at as well. Just his time down at Alabama State, something not to scoff at. It was a while ago, as far as 20 years ago, but any familiarity is going to be helpful for Coach DeBoer because we've talked about the great recruiters that he's already brought onto this staff. This is a guy, a little bit of familiarity, always going to help him as well. But I think this guy is going to come in here. I think he's done a great job as far as, being on some prolific teams at Michigan State, at North Carolina. Has really worked his way up. And I think this is a guy chomping at the bit to make it in the big leagues. Alabama is definitely that. Michigan State's great. North Carolina's great. They are no Alabama. This guy coming in ready to prove himself at the highest level of college football. And I think this was a great hire by Coach DeBoer.